Today, Netflix launched its new $7 a month ad-supported subscription option that's $3 less than the basic Netflix subscription service that doesn't have ads. Netflix tells us there will be a limited number of titles that aren't available due to licensing restrictions. They say they're working on that. They also tell us that the titles that are available represent an average of between 85% to 95% of what's most popular on Netflix right now, depending on the country. We did see that some titles, including some James Bond and Morbius from Sony, are appearing as locked. That gives users the option to change their plan and to pay a little bit more to watch those films. Today's launch does come about a month ahead of the launch of Disney's $8 a month ad-supported tier. And it really marks a new phase in the streaming wars, a fight to hold on to consumers who are looking to cut back on spending by giving them cheaper options. Netflix warned that this would be a slow ramp up of its ad business, but once Netflix with ads is at scale, we'll have to see if its ad inventory can steal share from Hulu, Peacock, Paramount Plus, HBO Max, or even YouTube. And Melissa, while I'm here, some other big advertising news. More big advertisers are pausing spending on Twitter. This according to a new report out from the Wall Street Journal naming General Mills, Audi, Mondelez, Pfizer. We connected with General Mills. They confirmed and told us, quote, "We will continue to monitor this new direction and evaluate our marketing spend." Melissa?
I have two questions for you, Julia. How should we view ad dollars that go onto either an internet platform like a Twitter and an ad-supported streaming service like a Netflix? Are those usually the same sorts of dollars? Is there competition there, do you think?
There's usually, I think, a different category between Twitter and what's happening on the ad-supported streaming. I think that Netflix is hoping to draw share from traditional television, right? From traditional ad dollars, or from even old-fashioned ad formats like, say, radio or outdoor advertising. But they're trying to draw share from some of these traditional formats and also compete for those streaming video ad dollars. It's kind of a different format. Twitter is kind of its own category. Remember, it's a much smaller platform than, say, a Meta, but they have direct response ads, and they have really been trying to invest in their brand advertising business. But remember, they don't maybe know as much about the user than a Meta does. So it's a different type of advertising. And I think that the big brands like General Mills, they want to make sure that their brand is in a safe environment. If you're advertising on Netflix, if you're advertising on Hulu, you know exactly what that content is going to be. It's not user generated. So that's why I think these are sort of two different categories.
It almost seems, though, premature for these companies to say we're going to pause because we think it might not be a safe environment. I mean, nothing has really happened so far.
Well, that's not necessarily true. There was one study that found that there was a 500% increase in hate speech on the platform just on Friday, the day after Elon Musk took over. And so there's this question of whether or not trolls or different people are testing the limits of what is appropriate on Twitter. So I think for now, Elon Musk has been meeting with advertisers, trying to reassure them. They want to understand that their brands are going to be in a safe environment.
All right, Julia, thank you. Julia Boorstin. I don't know where you want to go here, Twitter or Netflix?
I feel like I'd be baited if I went to Twitter, politically wise.
Why?
Because of course it has to be an increase in hate.
You just did this to yourself, by the way.
Yeah,
I know.
Yeah.
I gave you the option, and you went down that road.
I'm going to go down that road. So I think there's got to be an increase in what you could. First of all, I don't know what's considered hate speech. I don't know what is. You know it when you see it, right? But if you're only hearing one side of a fight, there's going to be no hate speech. Does that make sense? I think what Elon Musk is trying to do is get multiple viewpoints on the platform. Everyone knows there shouldn't be hate speech, right? So that's a given. Do you get where I'm going or no?
Yeah, I mean, he's already told an EU regulator that they are going to comply with these very strict EU rules when it comes to content. So there seems to be early indications that Elon Musk is willing to comply to some modicum of standard.
Well, you can only go so far until you break your machine, right? And your reputation, yes.
I just think the things that I've heard over the last couple of days that are more impressive are the ways he's trying to monetize. And by the way, he doesn't have to worry about public markets that just don't care anymore.
Right.
So that's actually what's interesting.
But I mean, if you were a Twitter shareholder, wouldn't you be glad if Twitter before Elon Musk had said, we're going to charge for the blue check mark. We're going to charge for DMing. We're going to charge for this and that.
The things he is doing are things that I would have been happy about as a former Twitter shareholder, except for I don't own the stock anymore. So I think what he's doing is good for the intrinsic value of the company. But, I'd rather talk about Netflix.
Jacob Ellis versus Ohio. If Potter Stewart were here, unfortunately, he can't be with us, he would say, I'll know it when I see it. You can go to your Google machines right now and check that out. In terms of Netflix, Tim, thanks for bringing that up. Carter Braxton Worth has been saying for the longest time when Netflix was down in the 180s or so, there are gaps to be filled on the upside. And if we were to trade up to 300, we would successfully fill those gaps. And when Netflix was 180, we talked about it for the first time in a long time. You can make an argument on valuation. All true. Traded 303 the other day. It's given back 10% in 2.5 trading days. There'll be another place to reload, I think, on the long side. But unfortunately, I think it's closer to 2.25.